Dr. Oakley. I am honored to present to you the graduating class of 2018. This class is presented to you with pride in all that they have accomplished.
Thank you, Mr. Bodwell. Looking good. You may sit. Members of the school committee, Selectman Kinahan, Senator Timilty, Administrator Gagne, faculty, family, friends, and most importantly, class of 2018. Once again, welcome to the West Bridgewater High School graduation ceremony. We couldn't have asked for a better evening. So I'm not turning my back to you, but I want to talk to them. So do this, yeah. There we go. So all eyes on me now. So class of 2018. I'm betting that your senior year went by like a blink of an eye, and I'm sure at times it seemed very crazy and hectic with everything you had on your plate this year. But I hope that as you listen to some of your classmates reminiscing this evening, you got to reflect a little bit on the good times you've had, and that you'll cherish all of the wonderful memories, friendships, and relationships that you formed during your years as West Bridgewater Wildcats. A few months ago, while I was meeting with my Superintendent's Council, which for those of you who don't know is a group of students elected from the high school student council that meet with me monthly. They keep me up on all important things high school, and maybe along the way I can pass on a pearl or two of wisdom to them, but maybe not. At this particular meeting, we were discussing the future plans of our seniors, when one of the underclassmen mentioned that she had some concerns about her SAT scores and was worried that they may not be good enough to get her into college, the college of her choice. She was genuinely concerned that these scores would be very detrimental to her future. I tried to make the point that she, or others, shouldn't stress so much over SAT scores because it's just a test, one assessment. And I've always been a firm believer that there's much more that goes into being successful in college and beyond than just being a good test taker. Now, don't get me wrong. The superintendent schools isn't standing up here saying that tests or assessments in general aren't useful tools that give us meaningful information. But the SAT is just one measure of ability. And honestly, some still argue that it's not even the best predictor of success in college. And hopefully no one from the College Board is here to hear that. Recently, I read a book by psychologist Angela Duckworth called Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance. It's a culmination of research on what she's found it really takes to succeed, and it confirms what I've always believed. In her book, she argues that natural talent or innate ability is overrated, and what you really need to succeed is what she terms as grit. Some would call this resilience, fortitude, toughness, determination, endurance, or perseverance. Personally, I think it's a combination of all these descriptors, but in simple terms, it's the ability to work towards a goal, overcome challenges, and stick to it even when it's hard. Duckworth claims that effort or hard work is twice as valuable in relation to success and achievement as talent. What she explains is a simple formula. If you take any basic human talent or ability, no matter what that might be, being artistic, an analytical thinker, a public speaker, a problem solver, a leader, a creative writer, an athlete, or some type of musical ability, whatever it is, the first bit of talent that you possess, multiplied by the effort that you put in, equals the increase in your skill level. But then the skill level is multiplied by more effort and practice, and that leads to real achievement. So what she's saying is that achievement or success is dependent upon how much effort you put into something, not how much talent you begin with. That brings me back to the SAT discussion that we're having with the students. In fact, Duckworth found that SAT scores and grit were inversely correlated when it came to college success. Overall, I think that's good news for all of us, Because for those of us that may not be naturally talented things, it means success isn't reserved for the talented only. We can all be successful in achieving our goals if we put in the effort. Take it from one who knows. With hard work and effort, I'm much more successful than my SAT scores would have predicted close to 40 years ago. But grit just isn't about hard work and effort. Do you recall this year's Boston Marathon? If you remember, the weather conditions were horrific. Temperatures in the low 40s, 35-mile-an-hour headwinds, driving rain, and a wind chill in the low 30s. Not a great day for running by any stretch of the imagination. Conditions were so bad that 60% of the elite runners dropped out of the race along the way. Think about that. 60% of the most naturally talented runners in the world dropped out because of the weather conditions. So who were we left with? We were left with runners who not only put forth the effort to make it to the finish line, but runners who dug down deep into their guts and just refused to give up, even in the worst of conditions. See, putting in effort is just one ingredient of grit. Perseverance, or the ability to overcome obstacles and setbacks and finish what you started, even when it would be easy to just give up, is the other. The winners of the 2018 marathon were not exactly no-names in the sport, but not considered the top elite or even the most naturally talented runners. The women's champion, Des Linden, ran 15 marathons in 11 years and never won. In Boston, in 2011, she came in second by 2 seconds. Let's face it, 2 seconds stings worse than 2 hours. But she never gave up, she trained even harder, and came back this year in some of the worst weather conditions in Boston's history and won her first marathon. I would call that grit. Yuki Kawauchi, the men's champion, has put lots of time and effort in too. He's run 76 marathons and plans to run 100 before the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. He isn't even a professional runner. He fits his runs in around a 40-per-hour week job and doesn't have professional sponsorships. And talk about tough. In order to train for Boston this year, he flew to the US and ran the Marshfield New Year's Day Marathon. And if you recall, the temperature that day was a balmy -10 degrees Fahrenheit. I'd call that grit. Thing is, grit isn't just a trait for athletes. It's a trait that can be developed and grown by anyone. Because most people are not naturally talented, and even the ones that are not naturally successful. No, success takes hard work, effort, practice, perseverance, oh, you got it, grit. And most often, the greatest successes and achievements come out of adverse conditions. And people with grit face adversity head on. They feel the fear and do it anyway. Grit's what gets you through the tough times, even when you feel like you just can't go on. Let's face it, there was no way that running this year's marathon was a pleasant experience. But the grittiest runners kept on going. And after the race, Des Linden said, if it hadn't been so difficult, I don't think it would mean as much. You're all going to run into obstacles and challenges as you navigate your way through life. But if you face each of them with grit and determination, you'll come out on the other side stronger and better than before. Babe Ruth once said, it's hard to beat a person who never gives up. As your superintendent for the past 12 years, I have the utmost confidence that your years here in West Bridgewater Public Schools have nurtured your talents and enhanced your skills. But the rest is up to you. How much effort are you willing to put into achieving your goals and dreams? How long are you willing to persevere when the conditions aren't what you expected? How many times will you pick yourself up and try again when you don't get the outcome that you'd hoped for? You're the only ones that can answer these questions. Grit comes from within. As my dad used to say, you have a choice. You can throw in the towel, or you can use it to wipe the sweat off your face. True excellence comes from grit. Now, I'm not the most musically talented, as you probably can tell from my various opening day videos and carpool karaokes. But I like music, and I have a tradition of connecting the themes of my graduation speech to song lyrics. And as I was writing this message, a couple lines of a song kept running around my head. It's by someone who has left us this past year, the late, great Tom Petty. It may not be real profound or deepest, but it works for me when I feel like giving up. Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. Everybody, now I won't back down. That's all I'm doing. Class of 2018, as you leave us to pursue your goals and dreams, remember that although it sounds cliche, life is a marathon, not a sprint. There'll be times when you run into a strong headwind, pelting rains and freezing temperatures, but when you feel like you can't go on, dig down a little deeper in your gut, pull out your inner grit, and show the world what you're made of. Because you're wildcats, and wildcats have grit, and wildcats don't back down. Good luck, and God bless you all.